New sanctions on Syria as rebels in the city of Aleppo are trying to stop a government offensive.
Meantime, John Baird will be in the Middle East today. The Foreign Affairs Minister is set to visit Lebanon and tomorrow tour a Syrian refugee camp in Jordan.
The UK, meanwhile, is pledging to provide equipment to the Free Syrian Army, representing the opposition. This free equipment will include radio, satellite gear, portable power generators, but no weapons. Lori Handrahan is a professor at American University School of International Service. She joins us now from Washington. Professor, we're talking about sanctions. Hillary Clinton has been in the region. Our foreign minister is there today. Does all of this signal that individual nations are trying to fill the gap left by the United Nations, which apparently is totally ineffectual on Syria?
Hi, Dan. Thanks so much for having me on. First, I'm delighted that your foreign minister is going to the refugee camps in Jordan. Congratulations to him. He gets a round of applause on that. An old friend of mine, Andrew Harper, is the UNHCR country representative, so I know that they're doing a great job in Jordan. I know they're going to appreciate his moral support. I hope that he actually sits down and listens to the refugees. I hope it's not just a photo op. I hope he actually listens, he understands what's happening, he hears their story, and he lets them touch his heart. I don't think this is a gap by the UN. I mean, I think this is a gap that America and the President Obama administration has made, and I think that there's a lot of political talk now going on, which is still basically a cover for doing something.
Is it a cover, Professor, or are you encouraged by some of what we see? I mean, as we mentioned, John Baird is heading there, Hillary Clinton is heading there. There seems to be at least a meeting, perhaps several meetings taking place. We know that now things have changed on the ground, that the rebels have a pretty good swath that they control north of Aleppo. And some say, look, if maybe there's an opportunity for a no-fly zone, this could be it.
Well, you know, Jackie, at first I was encouraged. When you start to hear that the White House hasn't ruled out a no-fly zone, I got a little bit encouraged. Yeah. But then when you do a deeper analysis, the word that they keep saying is eventually. Eventually a no-fly zone. Well, eventually, when would you do a no-fly zone if not in the middle of a genocide? The Washington Post, there was an op-ed today saying it's already entered the genocidal realm. I said that in an editorial on Monday. Yeah. There have been mass graves. There have been slaughters. I mean, Aleppo is surrounded by 20,000 government troops right now, so it's looking like a Sarajevo-type siege. So when would you do a no-fly zone if not now? Well, and if you're going to go in, you can't go in half measures.
Now is you'd have to dance around the Russian Navy. You'd have to dance around Russian aircraft and warplanes in the air.
Precisely, and you know, this has been coming for a long time, and this is again a failure of the Obama administration to get in there and take charge and do what needed to be done 17 months ago. I mean, better late than never. The longer that this goes on, that we allow the slaughter, the less likely we will be able to have real peace in the country afterwards,
okay,
right?
So what would you, I mean, our foreign minister, as we mentioned, heading there, what opportunity is there now for Canada then? So does he just go there and offer up some money for some of those refugees and to help establish more permanent camps? What could Canada do?
Great question, Jackie. I mean, yes, we need so much more money because it's a major, massive humanitarian crisis right now. 1.5 million people displaced internally and externally. So we've reached major humanitarian crisis levels, and the UNHCR is majorly underfunded. So there is money needed to help the people who have made it out, absolutely.
How much money are we talking about, though? Is there anyone who's done the math on this?
Yeah, well, UNHCR says they're still funded only at 26%, and you've got other crises going on with Mali.
Oh, so these are old commitments, right? That still haven't seen the money they were promised.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So William Hague just promised some more money in non-lethal aid, right? So yes, you need humanitarian aid, but what do you want non-lethal aid for when you're being slaughtered? You see what I'm saying? And so now we're saying that the CIA, we can go in and we can give advice. Again, if you're being slaughtered, your 2-year-old daughter's been shot in the head, your 8-year-old daughter's been raped in front of you, and you've got fighter planes from your own government bombing your city, what do you want advice for? What's the advice? Hey, hide under the desk when the bombs come? I mean, really, so what you're starting to see now with the so-called rebels, which are largely just a civilian population being slaughtered trying to defend themselves, you're seeing them already start to turn. And you're seeing them say, we will remember that the world forgot us when we control Syria, right? This was an op-ed I had where I said the Martin Luther King quote, you remember the words of the silence of your friends more than you remember the words of your enemies. And we're already seeing that turning. So you have room for Al-Qaeda to come in, because when you're in this kind of traumatic situation, you don't care where the help comes from. And Syria has been begging the world for 17 months for help, and we've stood by and watched the slaughter. Yeah? So we're entering a really dangerous period where there's the window of opportunity has closed or is closing, and we're entering a realm that there's not a lot of return from, which I think is extremely concerning.
Okay, Lori Handrahan is professor at American University School of International Service. Always good to speak with you, Professor. Thank you.
Thanks, you guys.
Take care.
Bye.